Alliance. So we have 30 million members. These are all the brands that we have. You might not be familiar with many of them, but I think in Europe, the most popular ones will be, of course, Kempinski, NH Collection. I think there are plenty of properties of NH Collection across the Europe. But we do have coverage across all continents. South America, quite a lot. Europe, Southeast Asia, and Oceania as well. So just a few words about us as a loyalty program. So it's a hospitality loyalty program where members can earn and spend Discovery dollars. It's our currency platform. You can think about it as a cashback. Of course, as a member, as a value proposition, you get certain discounts when it comes to rates, for example. If you compare rates for non-members, member rates will be at least 10% cheaper. Then we have some local offers and experiences, which I will talk more about. When you are higher in the tiers, you get room upgrades or sometimes double room upgrades, early check-in, late checkout, these kind of facilities, of course, welcome amenities, and then other partner benefits, and then status sharing, of course, with the family. On the right side, what you see here, like for example, our highest tier, Titanium, these kind of benefits you get to see. Double upgrade, and then up to 7% cash back on your earn. So let's talk about how GHA actually utilizes Ibexa. I'm going to be starting with our channels. So we have ghadiscovery.com, our main website, our mobile app. And then after, we're going to speak about more of a programmatic approach, how GHA build on top of Ibexa certain APIs where we're able to distribute content for brands and their applications and their websites. And we also have partnership with many partners where we're able to provide the benefits in exchange for their members joining our alliance or joining our loyalty program. So I'm going to start with the first one, and I think it would make sense actually to demonstrate a little bit in terms of our content structure and in terms of how we utilize our content. So what we have here in the CMS itself, let me go here. So on the left side, you get to see, so we have quite a lot of content. And let me just show you a simple structure where everything is kind of works in a parent-child relationship when it comes to content tree. Everything separated in the folders. So what we have on the top, of course, we do have a brand. And within the brand, you have individual folders for hotels. And within those folders, you get to see individual items of hotel. And that includes certain items that actually belong to the hotel, something that they have produced themselves. That includes local offers. Sometimes, for example, if guests can have access to hotel facilities without actually staying at the property, they have access to that, or experiences, which I will show you a few examples later. Over here, so let's just take one hotel example. Let's say NH Barcelona. So the content here, once again, fits in few folders. So for example, it's a hospitality industry, of course, what we're selling is rooms. So all the rooms and room description, you find it in the rooms folder. Then we have a section dining and wellness where hotels can, of course, showcase what kind of restaurants they have. They can have links to their menu or links to the reservation system for their restaurants. Then, of course, there's this folder for local offers and folders for experiences as well. And then you have stay offers, it's kind of promotions and what things that members can enjoy in addition to the stay. So that's the structure that we have. Just to give a bit in terms of the scale. So we have close to 1,000 editors. So it's a bit of quite a big number of people who is using CMS. How it all starts is that on the left side, what you see is that we have a concept of a hotel champion. Whatever brand joins us, depending on number of properties that they have, is that they usually assign one hotel champion who is purely responsible for their own content. Of course, that includes hotel pages, experiences, stay offers, local offers, dining and wellness, and other things. And then in terms of approval, which I'll also talk about, but we have a structure where we as GHA not necessarily doing any content for our brands, because for us it will be physically impossible to handle such a number of pages and such a number of content. So it's all decentralized, and brands are doing it themselves. They have a concept also of a brand champion. So usually it's one person who is assigned to a particular brand. So we have 45 brands. And then for certain type of content, we do have a requirement where GHA needs to approve at the very end. Because sometimes for certain content types, if you don't do quality assurance, unfortunately, things will drop in quality. So we do have a single sign-on in place. We have integrated with Okta solution that we actually use. And that actually determines what kind of access each user gets. Sometimes one user can have access to few properties. As a hotel champion, they can have multiple properties. It all really depends on the setup that hotel wants to have. And we're quite flexible. Sometimes they might have multiple brand champions. Sometimes there's no even hotel champion at all. It's just brand champion who takes care of, especially for smaller brands. But Ibexa really helps us to manage all the rights. And we manage in approximately 80,000 pages when it comes to our front end. Here, as I mentioned, we have different approval levels. Like, for example, on the top, you will see it's relatively easy. You have a hotel champion or brand champion themselves. They create the content. If it's brand champion, it just directly get published. If it's a hotel champion, then it goes to hotel champion first, and then brand champion, once it's approved it, then it gets published. So it's relatively easy where GHA is not really getting involved. For other kind of content, we do have actually separate teams who are managing the approvals, where you have draft first, then it comes to brand champion review. Depending whether it's successful or not, then it comes to GHA level. But even if it didn't, let's say, didn't breach brand champion review, then it goes to hotel champion back and forth. But we have extra step where GHA can reject items and they have to resubmit it. It quite often happens because we have maybe around 10 different kind of promotion cycles around the year, where brands, we're providing them kind of a guideline in terms of promotion, what kind of theme of a promotion. It could be, Cyber Sunday and then Cyber Monday. You have different promotions throughout the year, Christmas theme, New Year, where they're supposed to submit their promotions. And what's important to understand in the hospitality industry, content is just one element. Another element is something called ARI. Inventory rates, availability. Those are where all the prices sit in the core system. So sometimes if promotion is submitted, but we on our side go and check in the back end if there's any actual availability, because you can say, oh, stay at this hotel, get 30% discount if you book 3 nights. But actually, when we go and check, there is no availability for that particular property. So we need to make sure that quality assurance is in place. Here is just some example of how we use the headless part of CMS, where you get to see, for example, hotel pages, how it looks on our website and how it looks on our mobile app. Dining and wellness, again, option for brands to promote their restaurants or their spa facilities. Local offers and experiences. And with local offers and experiences, we actually develop some additional functionality, which also sits in CMS. It's kind of a small booking engine where brands are able to actually specify certain things when it comes to, let's say, daily availability. If let's say it's access to a swimming pool that they want to promote, you don't want people to come to your swimming pool in the middle of the night. So you can specify what is the time. So as a user, you can choose the date, choose the time, and how many guests. And all of that is configurable. We can create block-out dates where certain dates won't be available. We can specify what is the total number of guests that could be there. And of course, we can include taxes and all that stuff. Everything sits really on a CMS. Here, also important element where Ibexa really helps us to have it's not really automated, but it's much easier for brands to set up something called brand-wide offers. Brand-wide offers is basically, it's the same type of offer, but it could be attached to many properties. They could be in completely different locations, so it's much easier for you. And if you remember in our content structure, there's a separate folder for that. So users create a new object in there. And what they do is within the object, they connect it to a few properties. And after that, just with few clicks, and they're able to distribute it. So in this particular case, on our front end, you get to see, oh, it's the same offer, but then you get to select towards which property this actually would apply. So that's really handy for us, and many brands actually love to use this feature. I won't be going too technical in terms of that, but in terms of auto search, I think this is where we get a really big help from Ibexa DXP. What we have here, as I mentioned, on the top side, you have content side, and on the top we have our core system. We use Sabre. Previously we use in Oracle Hospitality. But basically how does it work is that as a user, I first, of course, what we have on our, actually let me maybe demonstrate it will be much easier. So what we have here is that, let's say you type in Barcelona. So what it does, of course, it will find all the matches that is applicable to that. So you get to see, different properties in the location. So you get to see, of course, object of cities. So if you want to see all properties in the city of Barcelona, or if there is a match against the name of the property, then you get to see that as well. But how does it work is that, of course, user input, then it goes to Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch sits on top of the database. It comes back with a list of CMS objects, which are basically displayed over here. User either can click enter or click any of them. And then the next step, what will happen is that there will be a search result page where you get to see individual property listed. We make a GraphQL query to Ibexa to get us the content, of course. But then separately, it's important to have in the hospitality industry, each property has a unique ID. And that ID goes into our core platform where we're able to fetch all the rates and availability for that particular property, for that particular date and number of adults that they specify. And we're just displaying, on this particular page, we're just displaying the cheapest member rate, the cheapest non-member rate. They might have 30, 40, 50 rates. We don't display all of them, but user able to see all of them once they proceed through the checkout journey. But really, all the functionality of auto search really relies on Ibexa DXP. So that was a headless functionality. Now we can talk about page builder functionality. So we were previously using Easy Publish, and there, of course, page builder functionality wasn't necessarily available. And so we had to use few different solutions. So our marketing team who build a lot of landing pages, and of course, they have a lot of ideas of how certain landing page is supposed to look like. So it was always a struggle for us if we want to customize certain things. So they just opted out a completely different solution. But over time, over the years, when we looked at what kind of landing pages are there, we can see that a lot of things are basically templates. And so we do have a development team in-house. So together with them, we have worked on creating a lot of different sections that basically probably covers 99% of scenarios that marketing team needs when it comes to building landing pages. And just a few examples, like for example, this hero banner on our website. So you will see it rotates. You have like 5 dots over here, and then on the right side, this is how it looks in a page builder itself. So you kind of, whenever you're building content at the back end, at the back you get to see, of course, the visual, and on the right side you get to see certain elements that you can reuse across your website. Then, of course, for different kind of promotions, you get to see all of this is customizable, where certain elements are here. Another kind of banner that we have, where user can rotate and see, for example, popular destinations at the time. This one is a bit more complex, where we're able to add this particular section across our website anywhere we want, or across landing pages. And what we do here, for example, what we do is that we target brand Sun International and the item type of hotel. If you remember, we have different item types. We have experiences, local offers. So if we want to change that, we're able to change it completely here. And we're also able to change the brand. So if we want to feature, let's say, experiences for a particular brand, for front end, it will be relatively easy to do. And then you have, of course, this kind of description. You're able to change everything. And it's all dynamically pulling items from Ibexa. As you would mention, when you have 1,000 users, training is quite an important element. We, of course, providing training materials. We have separate training portal. We went to the extent of creating training videos, because nowadays people don't like to read stuff. They just like to tune in, maybe listen for a few minutes, and that's it. Of course, we do have also training team in case anyone needs any refresher, because with 1,000 users, a lot of people move in and move out of organizations, and we need to constantly train them. So that was on the headless part, and it was mostly about our channels. Now we can talk about brand application and partnerships. I won't be going into too much details here, but basically what it enables here is that, let's say you have a partner application. It could be, let's say we have Visa or MasterCard, they have their website where, as a user, let's say you have to enter your credit card number or maybe last 6 digits, and then based on your credit card level, maybe you get to have different kind of promotions that are applicable for you, because different tiers for MasterCard and Visa, they offer different privileges. So for us, what we have partnership with them is that for certain levels of the users, we give them a link to registration on our platform, but they users directly get upgraded to platinum or titanium levels. So it's all powered in combination with Ibexa, where you have this front end here. By the end of it, you get upgraded, and all the functionality in terms of storing information was built on top of it. But then, in terms of front end, in terms of visual side of things, and some information that we need to pass to the core system, that is stored in Ibexa as values. So at the end of the day, it enables our partners to have registration links on their website that directly upgrade members to higher tiers. Another element is, of course, content itself. So local offers and experiences. As you can see, for example, here, an age collection in Barcelona, you have local cheese and wine tasting. Let's say it's display on our website. And then you have display on nhhotels.com, which utilize our endpoints and able to fetch the content on their website. The same applies for experiences. Let's say guided tour of Sagrada Familia, but quite expensive. But some people might buy that. But yeah, again, we have availability on our website, but the same could be found on nh.com, nhhotels.com, or other websites as well. So we give them like a whole ecosystem of endpoints which they connect to, and they can fetch quite a lot of variety of content. Here I'm just displaying kind of few things that are worth highlighting. Another element I think is quite nice is autocomplete. So let's imagine you are Kempinski. So you are located in certain locations. So in Europe, you have Asia as well, Southeast Asia, but we don't have any property in London. So whenever user types London on their channels, instead of just blankly saying no results found, what they can do is that we provide them endpoint where they're able to see the list of properties of our partners available as part of our alliance, available for them. And so they can display it here. So for example, Enhal London, Pan Pacific London, these are not necessarily Kempinski hotels, but this is something that they can display on their channels. And all this stuff is of course being fetched from Ibexa DXP, because we built some APIs on top of it and they're able to fetch that. Same goes for Pan Pacific. Pan Pacific really, it's a Southeast Asia brand. They don't have any presence in Europe. So if you type in Barcelona, what it does is that it shows you some of the results that are available in Barcelona from different brands as part of Alliance. Some future plans when it comes to us. We have started many years ago with an easy publish solution. We have understood that at that time we were quite limited of the things that we can do, and what we mostly also understood is that there was a lot of if you want to do any enhancement, we kind of had to do research and development. I was 100% on our side. So we opted in for Ibexa DXP, where research and development is something that kind of shared with many members. At the same time, as an exchange, we get a solution that's get upgraded all the time. Of course, we have to make sure that we keep in track with the current version, and that's something that we're also going to do in the future. So currently we are on version 3.3, which of course meets our needs. But we also understand that a new features available in 4.6. It's something that we'll be planning to do, even though we have done a lot of customization, and this project will take us probably a good amount of time, almost a year to move. But this is something that we're planning to do, because what we have seen is that a lot of the things that available in 4.6, we have done something that was kind of custom. Now it's available out of the box, so now we have to work on upgrade. Yeah, I think that's the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
Regarding the authorization that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Are you storing the authorization groups in Okta, or are you handling the authorizations in Ibexa? So you store the groups in Okta and they are synced?
Yeah. So in Okta you have few things. One is the user role. So it defines whether it's a hotel level user, or it's a brand level user, or it's an admin. And we do have marketing users, because things like that. And then there is a separate, it shows to which properties that user has access to. So if it's just directly, let's say user role is a brand champion, there is a separate group for the brand to define, okay, this is brand champion, they have access to this particular brand. If it's a hotel champion, there needs to be a combination of relevant properties where they will have access to, so that, of course, on a content tree, they only get to see relevant information to them. But it's purely on Okta side. And the logic on the CMS side is just to read that information, but nothing is stored in CMS. Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations for the use case. I would like to know, with this amount of editors, what are the main challenges that you have?
The main challenges that we have is probably training. Training is something that people, for us, we have 45 brands. Each of them, they have different approaches. Sometimes it's more centralized. Sometimes it's completely decentralized. Plus hospitality industry where people don't tend to stay for long. So they might work a couple of years and then they go out of organization. So we have to constantly keep track. And that's something that Ibexa in itself is a really simple solution. But if you haven't used it in like 6 months sometimes, and you just trying to do something quickly because we have deadlines, because for a lot of the brands, what we notice is our loyalty platform is something that's secondary to their job, because they have daily jobs that they have to do. And then there is GHA discovery where they might not necessarily have enough time to work on that. So training, and quite a lot of very helpful is video training. So if you have any questions from any of the users, you can just directly send them video. And because if you send them manual, nobody's going to read that. But if you're going to send them short video that is only a few minutes long, they actually will tend to just watch it, and that will be the most useful. So I would say training would be the most difficult part when you have like 1,000 editors. Yeah. Yes?
Thank you very much for the presentation. You just mentioned the migration takes you about a year.
Yeah, we're talking about our resources, so we need to plan it, of course, and we need to make sure when we plan that, of course, how all the things that we have custom built, we need to research whether those features, some of them definitely available out of the box, and we need to plan how exactly we're going to do that. Creating a new environment, working with that. It's just we're currently sometimes limited with certain other projects where capacity for things it's not there. That's why it will take, let's say, one developer to approximately 9 months. Of course, we're probably going to speed it up, because I think the timeline is 2026, if I'm not mistaken, beginning. So we have to speed it up. And this is where actually we'll be looking for partners who had experience migrating from version 3.3 to the current version, where we'll be looking for some consultations in order to plan it accordingly, and maybe actually with actual development as well, because our current resources are quite stretched already. But yeah, I understand, from your perspective, you think, yeah, it's like quite a long time. It's all about resource planning. But also we've done quite a lot of customization, as you might see. Yeah. Any more questions? Okay, all right. Then thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your time.